So, what if you could totally transform your life just by changing what you do the moment you wake up? Well, that's the big, powerful promise behind Robin Sharma's book, The 5 a.m. Club. And today, we're going to break down exactly how this whole thing works.
I mean, it sounds almost too simple to be true, right? Could one single hour right at the beginning of your day really be the key to unlocking your best productivity, your highest creativity, and your biggest successes? Well, the core belief of the 5 a.m. Club is that the answer is a huge, resounding yes.
You see, this quote right here, it's the central promise of the entire philosophy. This isn't just about dragging yourself out of bed early. It's about intentionally using that first hour to point your entire day in the direction of success. Okay, so let's really dive into this premise. The foundational belief here is that a structured, purposeful start to your day creates this massive ripple effect. Basically, if you win the morning, the focus, the energy, and the clarity you build up will literally carry you through everything else that comes your way. So the big question is, how do you actually do it? Well, it all comes down to something called the victory hour. And this is the specific step-by-step formula for what to do in those first 60 minutes after that 5 a.m. alarm clock goes off. And the key thing to get here is that this victory hour isn't just about being awake. It's a really meticulously designed window of time that's meant to prime your mind, your body, and your spirit for whatever the day is about to throw at you. The formula itself is broken down into three super simple 20-minute chunks. You move, then you reflect, and then you grow. Let's take a closer look at what you actually do in each of those blocks. All right, let's break this down. From 5 to 5:20 a.m., you start with 20 minutes of intense movement. We're talking getting your heart rate up, breaking a sweat. Why? To flush your system with feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, and to just shake off that sleepiness. Then you shift gears. From 5:20 to 5:40, it's 20 minutes of quiet reflection, maybe some journaling, meditation, or just planning your day. This is all about getting clarity before the noise of the world kicks in. And finally, the last 20 minutes are all about growth. Reading a book, listening to a podcast, studying something new. You're actively kicking your brain into high gear for learning. But, and this is so important, this system is not about punishing yourself. Waking up at 5 a.m. is totally useless if you're sleep deprived. The whole point is to feel energized, not exhausted. So think of this 20-20-20 formula more like a flexible template. The real magic happens when you customize it to fit your personality and your life. Now look, this is not going to be easy overnight. Sharma uses this great analogy of the Taj Mahal. It took over 20 years of consistent daily work. And your habits, they're exactly the same. It takes a lot of willpower at the start, for sure. But with consistency, it eventually becomes automatic. It just becomes part of who you are. Okay, so we've moved from the what to do to the why you're doing it. The book outlines 4 key areas of focus that really separate the world-class performers from everybody else. This is the mindset that powers the whole method. The very first focus is called capitalization. The idea here is pretty simple. We're all born with some kind of natural talent, right? But those gifts don't just flourish on their own. Real success comes from actively identifying what those gifts are and then putting in the hard work to cultivate them. Second, and maybe the most important one for today, is eliminating distractions. You know, in our crazy, hyper-connected world, being able to focus is basically a superpower. This means you have to consciously create an environment, both your physical space and your digital one, that protects your attention so you can pour it into the few things that actually matter. The third focus is all about personal mastery. This is a deep commitment to seeing yourself as a constant work in progress. You're never done. And the way you do that is by taking care of what Sharma calls your 4 interior empires. So what are they? Well, you've got your mindset, which is your psychology and your self-talk, your heart set, which is your emotional health, your health set, which is your physical fitness, and your soul set, which is that deeper spiritual side of you. The big idea is that you can't be world-class in your career if you're neglecting one of these core areas. True mastery means you've got to balance them. Okay, so you've won the morning. Awesome. But how do you keep that incredible momentum going all day long? Let's look at some super practical tactics for weaving this high-performance mindset throughout your entire day. First up is the 90-90-1 rule, and it's incredibly simple but powerful. For the next 90 days, you dedicate the first 90 minutes of your workday to your single most important project. That's it. No emails, no social media, just pure, deep, focused work on the one thing that will move the needle the most. Now, to keep that focus going all day, you can use the 60-10 method.
You work in an intense 60-minute sprint, and then, and this is the most important part, you take a full 10 minutes to actually recharge. And I mean a real recharge. Step away from all screens. This is not a break to check your phone. It's a genuine recovery period for your brain. The book is just packed with other amazing tactics, but a couple that really stand out are the weekly design system, which is just taking some time on Sunday to map out your priorities for the week ahead, and the second win workout. This is a short walk or some light exercise right after your workday ends, designed to help you decompress and switch gears into your evening. So when you start to put all these pieces together, the victory hour, the 4 focuses, all the daily tactics, it all leads to this one single overarching philosophy for how to achieve great things. And that big idea is called day stacking. You see, the secret to massive long-term success isn't some heroic one-time effort. It's about focusing on just building one great day. You make one solid block, and then you just do it again tomorrow, and you stack another great day right on top of it. Over time, all these small, consistent daily wins build into something truly monumental. Which, brings us right back to where we started. This single idea really wraps up the entire system. If you just invest in that first hour, you create this incredibly powerful foundation that makes being excellent at everything else that much easier. So let's forget about trying to do this for the rest of your life. That's overwhelming. The only question that really matters is this: what one small change are you going to make to your first hour tomorrow? Thanks for tuning in.